Welcome back to the show, Wave On. And I want to introduce my next episode here, Alyssa. She is a past SUP trainee and paddleboarder, yoga instructor, and some collaboration that I've been able to do with her. So you may have taken some class with her in the past, but look for some more coming up this summer. We chat all about getting ready for the season and very excited to break out of this winter funk. So let's dive in. But before we do, I do still want to tell you about the Big Bay Retreat. We have added on another destination paddle in August at Turnip Rock, if you are familiar with in Lake Superior, or I'm sorry, Lake Huron. Lake Superior is our Big Bay retreat. So go to the website lunamoonsupyoga.com to check out all the things and the schedule. More is building as we prepare for spring. Welcome, Alyssa. Thanks for being here and sharing on the podcast. It's good to have you. How are you?
I am so happy to be here. I'm good, surviving Michigan winter and all the things, but I am warm and cozy. I got my blanket, so I'm happy to be here.
Good. So looking forward to brighter days, paddle days, all of
Yeah.
those things, which I mean, actually, it kind of reminds me back about almost a year ago when I even first met you. And I was like super excited to meet you. It was such a great connection. And I didn't even expect that. I don't know. I was just, I think I just came back from Florida actually. And, here you were. I was like, oh, this is so awesome, because just getting excited about the season and things like that. But now I feel like we have collaborated a few times and it's gone, really well. And the magic of the water and the offerings and experience that you have to share, has been really great. So again, I want to thank you, just, valuing that relationship. So
Yeah, I'll just add, I remember it was a snowy day, the day that we had met and you had your table set up, and I was just excited to be in the yoga community. I'm always excited to do anything like that. And then I just saw your table and I was just like, this is different. You don't see this every day. You don't see paddleboard, and you had your lotion bars and you were just fun and had really good energy. And yeah, it was really, and I think you were really tan too, so I was like, "All right, what's this about?" I needed that, a bright star in the
oh,
middle of winter.
well, thanks. I mean, yeah, having coming back from a trip like that was that helps.
Yeah.
I have to say. But anyway, when I met you and you were questioning, or you were curious about sup training, and I feel like we're just diving in, and I do want you to share obviously anything that you have coming up, or anything you're working on, or your social media, that kind of thing. Plug away for sure.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So, yeah, I had just moved back to the area, so and I had just was graduating that month from my yoga training. So to see your table, I was like, huh, a different way to apply yoga. And I love being outside and the outdoors, so it was really like serendipitous to me to like have met you. And right now, I'm currently teaching indoors to dancers, and I don't have a whole lot going on other than that. And you can always find me on social media at Rollin Consciously. My name is Alyssa Rollins, so it's a kind of play on that. But yeah, I was teaching 2 times a week, but I've recently cut back on that and kind of reevaluating what the schedule would look like for summer. And I know we did the yin and Reiki, and I really enjoyed that, really diving deeper into like the energy healing too. So my interests are vast, and I feel like I can always keep learning, and that's why I really enjoyed your sup training, because it got us outside and I loved that aspect of it, and got us on a board. Like, what's more fun than that?
Right?
Yeah.
How did you feel about, I mean, there's so many ways I can take this right now, but how did you feel like doing, like jumping in and doing the training? I guess if you were to offer up any like motivation or tips or for someone who's sort of on the edge, maybe about their ability or because it is a way to deepen your practice, just like as if you were to take a yoga training certification too.
For sure. And I think like I had already had that mindset because I was in my yoga training, but even outside of that, it was not even the yoga aspect. Like just to get out on a board and feel like confident. Like I had a paddle board, but to like I don't feel like there's a lot of people out there like explaining how it works and the proper techniques and just even the lingo. And it was just cool to be able to approach you and you were just so knowledgeable about it that it like instantly sparked my interest. And like I said, I loved being outside, so I got to combine my two loves of yoga and being in nature. Because yoga on grass, I mean, I do it, but it's not as fun. More for me, it's more fun to be on the water. You're adding different elements. It's a totally different experience. And I think it really adds to like the Zen factor too, that maybe doesn't get like you can picture yourself on a beach, but it's different than actually being on a beach or in water. So,
Yeah, I mean I have similar thoughts why I even started all of this as a business and yeah, being outside and just taking away four walls and I mean like yes, we have the watches that track stuff and all of that and even that's part of like a safety thing if you have it attached to your phone somehow if you need it. But what's nice is leaving your phone and just being on a board, like talking with somebody else and then paddling like up to what's next, like a car ride, right? Like you're on the road and okay, there's that. Oh, wow, cool. What's that over there? Or what's this, fish or turtle and those kinds of things too. I mean, sometimes I even feel like I get used to it. And so then when new people come out and experience it, they're like, they see a duck or a goose or well, I should say a swan. Maybe they're a little more intrigued by a swan and watching them swim by and it's like, it is pretty cool, just those things. And, you don't get that. It's not as stimulating as being inside.
yeah, I was gonna say, it's like a different form of entertainment. And like then being in like a dark room to do yoga, it's like there is more to take in and more sensory, but it's not like watching a show. It's more, it's like there's a deeper sense of like presence too that comes about. And I felt that, not only through your classes and learning about it, but just like those silent moments on the water, like watching the sunset, like it's just you got to experience it. Like you can't mimic it.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes very hard to describe too in descriptions for people.
Yeah.
Talk about Zen. When we finished the yin and Reiki on the paddle boards, that was the quietest group watching sunset. Like no one was saying a thing.
I feel like we were all in a trance. We were truly in a trance.
That does not happen.
Yeah.
I won't forget it. I'm like, will this happen every time or just can't repeat it?
Yeah, I don't it was well, I think the timing was just couldn't be more perfect because when we kind of wrapped up, and everybody's opening their eyes and sitting up, it's like the sun was setting and no one said anything. No one made a move to kind of, you know, go back to the dock, or it was just it was like a silent agreement to sit and surrender and watch this sunset. And I don't know, there's not a lot of moments like that, I feel like, in life.
No. And I mean, even on the boards, like usually there's some talk, there's something, some kind of noise being made, even if it is a sunset. And that was one of those times where it would just quiet, just
Yeah, the still water,
yeah.
like it just kind of all that I know that's another fun element I feel like with SUP is like not all the elements always tie. Like you can't predict the weather and the rain and the waves, but like in that moment, all came together.
It all just, yeah. And I'm like, like I said, I don't know as if you could really repeat it, but it made for well, then, of course, people started taking photos and stuff, eventually. And,
Yeah.
I mean, it's good because, you got to have some kind of memory of it. And, I thought that was really awesome. So I do look forward to that again this summer. Maybe we can fit in it in a couple times.
Yeah, I would love that. It was,
Yeah.
I love that. I had never experienced anything that like that either. Like even when we did our in person in studio, it was, it was transformative and I could feel the energy there, but I just think nature really magnifies, and water specifically magnifies those feelings of stillness and calm and zen and all of that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the in-person one, that was a great one too. And yeah, just kind of what you're saying. We didn't have water. We were, getting into the colder days, and but it was still different. I mean, how did, I guess, from your perspective, like how did you kind of feel like walking away? There was different people. I think there might have been a couple people that were the same actually, but yeah, tell like from your point of view.
Which is, I haven't like really reflected on the two differences until now, but now that I'm reflecting on it, when I had left, so like when you're giving Reiki and any type of energy, or I mean, you know this, like any type of service, there's an exchange there, and you kind of have to like balance like what's yours, what's the other person's, and then hold the teacher versus student space. And I found that to be easier on the water. It almost was like I could discharge the energy a little bit easier being in nature. And I don't know if that maybe just meant like I was calmer in nature. And not to say I wasn't that way in studio. I just found it easier to have that balance and that discharge, so to speak, to
Mm-hmm.
like neutralize that energy easier in nature than I did in studio. And I don't
Yeah.
think I made that connection until just now that you kind of pose those two.
I
Yeah.
think I think I know what you mean, and I think that it is definitely the water. It's like there's something about even if you don't put your hands in it, right? Like there's something about this vibration that I've witnessed people that may admit to me about like some trauma or just stressful experiences, and that the water just literally like helps float it away.
Yeah, that's the best way to describe it is what you just said. It floats it away, it absorbs it. I don't know. I know water too has like negative ion energy, so like if you're in front of like a waterfall, it has like health benefits and things like that. So I think there is something science related to what we're saying. Like it's
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like one of those things where you're barefoot, right? And you go to the grass, how they say
Mhm.
that's a like almost like a cycle from the
Yeah.
ground through your body, like it's the ions, the release and the
For sure.
neutralizing, I guess. So yeah, it's like nature, even just hikes in the woods, right? Like can be very grounding and healing in a way. It's like breathing in the fresh air.
Yeah, nature heals for
Yeah.
sure.
Yes. Yes. Right. So, that was a very memorable experience. Every season always has some sort of takeaways, and then you just look forward to more. It's
Yeah,
the
can't get
addiction.
enough.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So I'm sure you're definitely looking forward, like we said earlier about being in wintertime. Looking forward to getting out on the water.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine. I mean, we just have so much snow and ice everywhere. I know it'll come, but it's like hard to. I think I need to go back and look at some pictures and remind myself that there is another side to Michigan.
I do it every day, and I swear it helps. But I will say that I had this like awesome like strong mindset going into the fall, and it's like this like steam engine that was like rolling and rolling, and then all of a sudden in January it started to slow down. I'm like, "Oh no, it's snowing again." Now the lake is frozen. I'm like, "Oh no."
Well, because some years, like, I mean, I've kayaked and I don't know if I've paddleboarded, but I've certainly kayaked in February where, we didn't have the ice or,
Yeah.
you can kind of, we've had weird 50-degree days or, like some hope and reminder of spring, and I don't feel like we've had that this season.
No, right. I think there was one Sunday that was like reminding, I'm like, oh, it's reminding me of spring, but this was like way back, probably just after the new year.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was giving me some kind of like gleam, and then I haven't seen it since. And
Yeah.
that was reaching, like it was a stretch to think like,
Like I feel a slight it's above maybe 35 degrees.
yeah,
It's
yeah. And
like,
I'm hearing
yeah.
some birds, and I'm like, the sun
I
was
have
out
heard
that
the
day.
birds, so that has been extremely encouraging. I try to like peek my head out every morning. I try to go for a walk. That doesn't typically happen, but I try to like at least like peek my head out and just see the world and see the sun.
Yeah.
And a couple weeks ago, I noticed birds, so that has been something that's been encouraging.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, the birds I've heard, but I still nothing about a robin though. So rhino robins are, your
Oh,
like your
okay.
true
That's like
sign
the
of spring.
ultimate, yeah, the pinnacle of okay, spring is not only coming, and it's here.
Yeah, right. So do you have any like goals or a trip around paddling or anything for the season coming up?
Yeah, I think I would love to like get out more. I feel like last summer was really busy and I had just graduated and I was teaching it in a studio too, so I feel like I wasn't able to spend as much time outside and on my board. And I'm excited just to get more like practice in and like trying different poses. I was able to do a headstand last summer and that was fun. I
Mhm.
never thought I could do that on a board, but I think you had told me like what you can do on land for the majority of majority of it you can do on a board, and I never thought that was true, but then I started playing around more, and really I find that to be true except for tree pose. So,
That's so funny. I was just gonna mention tree pose.
yeah.
Um, because at the pool like a few weeks ago, you get like different varieties of people and experiences. And she teaches yoga. And I asked, does anybody have like a request or anything you want to try? And she's like, yeah, tree pose. And I'm like,
Oh.
okay. Like you think a headstand would be what she was going to say, but she said tree pose. And she actually started doing pretty good with it. She tried it a few
Okay.
times. I mean, like, yeah, it's the pool. There wasn't, I guess, like a lot of movement maybe with
Yeah.
waves and stuff, but just getting like to the middle of the board. And then she would try like one foot, and do it again, try to hold it. It's still very different from obviously than being on land, but that was pretty fun. And everyone was like,
It's so
wow.
fun to try out the different ones, and I mean you're using different muscles too because it's definitely more core engaged, and
Yeah.
I think it's just I don't know, I call them balance challenges. I just love it. I think it's fun.
Yeah. I saw, and actually, I was watching, talking about fun, like on the board. I was watching someone with a reel on Instagram, and I don't even remember what they were doing. I think it was more or less just like dropping back into a back bend and then like trying to bring their feet back over, but their feet
Oh,
went
wow.
into the water. So it was like
Oh, okay.
they flipped off of their
Off the
board.
board.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I'm like, wow, that
that's
looks so
fun.
fun.
That's like I feel like being creative with the board is like endless because who says you can do a move or do a sequence and you can end up in the water.
Yeah,
Doesn't like
right.
you can make it intentional too. I don't know. I feel like there's way more you can do that is cool. That has me thinking of some ideas.
Well, here, I'll give you a couple more that's not really yoga related, but like you're saying, the sky's the limit when you want to think about playing. We were doing pickleball. Yeah,
Mhm.
and so you kind of anchor the boards, give a little bit of space, and the stuff is typically waterproof. I mean, maybe don't use your best set of like paddles, but we were going back and forth, and then sometimes it's like, you try to get it and you might fall. But it's a balance challenge for
Oh,
sure.
I never heard of that or would have thought of that. That's really cool.
Yeah,
I had tried pickleball for the first time like a couple weeks ago and I was not good. I'm not very sports oriented. I mean I would say like I can like when it comes to like sports with balls in them, like any sort of like points and that like
Yeah.
I struggle with. Like I danced growing up, hence the yoga, and I like, paddleboarding, kayaking, like that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. Pickleball is hard for me. I don't know. That one might not be able to carry over from land to board.
I've never even played it on land. So
Really?
yeah, I don't know how to play it on land.
Some of you,
I'm just like, I want to
that's
play it on a
amazing.
board.
You just straight to the board.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm like, play it on the board. Hula hoop was another one year. It got
Oh,
very popular on Saturday morning. It was like we do yoga and then they would want to do hula hooping.
okay.
So
How was that?
that one's pretty fun too. So of course that one you're creating a lot more waves,
Yeah,
because you're
yeah.
kind of trying to get, the hoop to move. So the board's going side to side.
Yeah, and you're going,
Yeah.
yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll have to try all these. Should have that, like a relay or something, like a board, like board games, but on the water.
Yeah. Actually, that would be fun.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. I know. I've had a ton of time to brainstorm during this off season, and I seem to just keep adding like to the list of like themed paddles, fun things to
Oh yeah.
do,
Yeah, the witch paddle was awesome. I loved that.
Oh yeah, I'm
That
glad
was
you
like
made
a
it.
nice like close out the season. I don't think the weather was too bad when we went, and it was just nice to see. You had so many people, and we were all dressed up,
Yeah.
and it was, and it was cool to see like all your neighbors and people around, like, they're coming out to take pictures. Like it's a whole event.
I know it's and that was another one. It was perfect night weather, sunset,
Yep.
water. I only did one. There's been years where I've done two, and I'm just like, you know what? Just leave it where it is. It was
Yeah.
great. Let's not try to recreate this again this season. We'll save it.
I know. I feel like every Halloween it ends up raining. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like you picked a good day.
Yeah. Weather is I don't want to say not fun, but it's definitely not fun to try to plan around.
Well, I mean, you can't guess and you can't like promise to people, or like you can make a plan and do your best, but ultimately you have to surrender. And I think that's a good lesson in yoga is like that's
Mhm.
how to like live your yoga in that sense, because life is like that. And you have more predictability with in studio or in a pool, but like we said, like we don't get the elements that nature brings and provides. And I don't know.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I mean, even with the pool, it's funny because it's like, yes, we are in a controlled environment, but guess what? You're going to be driving in the snowstorm to get there. Like,
Oh
oh,
yeah. Yeah.
well,
Well, that's
it's
the thing. Yeah, even for a studio, like you still have to brave the elements. We cannot escape nature.
no. I mean, really, you can't, it's like, and to go back to that last pool class, it was like, it was snowing that morning, and just already had a bunch of snow and ice and stuff. So on top of it, and someone drove like pretty far distance to be there, and I was just like,
Oh.
wow. Like I
Well,
reflected
I feel
on
like it's a really rare offering. Like I
true.
don't, like I, I yeah, I don't know many people who are offering things like that. So I would drive too, but committed.
I
Gotta be
know
committed.
that's the thing, and that's why. And then so like later, even after I think the next day, even I like reflected on it again. I'm like, they drove pretty far to be here. Like that's a
Mhm.
big deal. Like that's like, nothing to, what do you say, like side pocket or something.
Like right off, or just
Yeah,
like, yeah,
discount,
because
discount.
yeah,
Yes.
especially because it's hard to get off your couch in the winter. It's hard to, I don't know. I don't love going out in the snow and things like that. But I love and appreciate people who um, find those things to do and like find those bright spots, because I do feel like winter becomes like too much of a drag, like we were talking about earlier,
Mm-hmm.
if you don't have
Yeah.
like fun things and
Yes.
try new things.
You're originally from here, right? From
Yeah, I grew
Michigan.
up here, yeah, in Michigan. So No stranger to the cold. What about you? Well, you're from
Yes.
Michigan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I've moved around a little bit, but yeah, I'm definitely this winter particularly is reminding me of some from my childhood that was just like never seemed to end, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
come March or
I
April.
I think as children, like as a child, I was much better about going out in the snow and playing in there. And I think I've lost some of that and doing the sup training and like becoming more like creative and like connecting with you, I feel like has like reconnected with like playing, like
Yeah.
playing outside and playing on a board and having fun with it. Like I feel like like ever since I started studying yoga, I don't know, like it became like a serious thing. It's like it doesn't have to be super serious all the time, you know? Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's it's funny that you say that because I kind of felt like that too, like a few years back. Well, probably just before the pandemic, really, when, all of our worlds changed and it gave me time to look back. It was like, wow, this is getting a little too serious. Even though I was already running my business, but in the winter, I spent a ton of time teaching, subbing, studying, and doing supplemental trainings and workshops, things like that. And it's not a bad thing. None of it was bad. It's just starting to
It's like a
feel
season, but then there's a time for the season to like lighten up a bit. Yeah,
yes.
I'm coming out of that. I feel like I was burnt out a little bit
Okay.
of doing a lot of that and the workshops and the trainings and the putting pressure on myself to teach, and now I'm learning the balance of like having fun.
Having fun with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is kind of a dance back and forth like that. Sometimes I feel like social media can be that way. Like you're trying to promote and post and, oh, what do they think? And what is this seriousness and this and that? And I just kind of went through that with my head this week a little bit. I'm like, just have fun with it. Remember, like it's just supposed to be fun. Like it's not, if you get too worried about what people think or
I feel like you've been killing it. I see your posts and I'm like, this is awesome. You're very consistent and you do make it fun.
oh, thank
I
you.
have struggled with my relationship with social media. I've took like a hiatus the past few months and it's daunting to get back into. I mean, the landscape just changes almost overnight.
That
Yeah.
that is true. I can remember in the beginning, like with running the business and stuff, and I'm like, well, here I'll make two accounts. One's
Mm.
more like my personal name, which is what I've always had for a while, anyways. And then I started a new one for Luna Moon, and then it was like, well, what do I post over here and over there? And then I'm like, is it duplicate content? Is it? I don't
Yeah.
know. I am the business, so I don't.
This is me. This is my life. Luna, me in my life.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so much practice, I guess, and like it's weird though. You would still think like, how long does it take you to understand this? Like, I don't
I
know.
know. It's like it's a whole new language, a whole new world, and how you interact. But I think you make it fun. I think you find like a good balance. I might
Oh,
have to
thanks.
pick your brain on your strategy there because
Sure.
I have a more doom and gloom like social media and the like it's hard. I don't know. It feels like just another thing, and but I feel like you approach it in a way where you're, making it fun and providing value and like fun content, and it is inspirational. Like there are accounts that I follow and I am inspired. I think there is definitely a good side to social media.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's something that is been around now for a while. Yeah, it changes a lot and new apps come along, or however that gets handled.
Are you on TikTok?
I am. I was
You
I
are?
was
Okay.
doing pretty good with TikTok and then I got discouraged and especially the whole shutdown, I was like, "Oh,
Uh,
forget this." Like I don't even
yeah.
so I in that one even I haven't posted much since that whole thing happened. I went back to like Instagram.
So, Kate, do you post like the same content to Instagram or TikTok, or they're totally different, like vibes, so to speak?
No, they're pretty much the same, but what I was learning, or what people were saying, of course, is that you can do longer version of the content on TikTok, or that's more welcomed, I guess, to do it. See, then Instagram even changed a little, and they upped their minute number on the
changes
reels
overnight. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think, with the TikTok shutdown, then this app says, well, okay, we should adapt a little bit what they're doing, because there's going to be people coming over from that app now, probably to use this one now more often, maybe. And that's the only thing I could gather out of it, because it always was more short form and I don't know, just very catchy or very fun. And I like telling more of a story, honestly. So then I think that's how I gravitated more with TikTok.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, to do
Well, I'll have
that stuff.
I don't use TikTok much, but I'll have to find you on there.
I mean, the future of that app has been talked about for 2
Yeah,
years.
it's hard to
2
invest
years.
time and energy into something that might just disappear like it did for 24 hours or however long it was.
Yeah,
So.
and I mean, honestly, it just came back up on the store. So if if you deleted it or got a new phone, or I don't know, whatever happened, didn't update, and then you lost it, you couldn't go back to the store and get it. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it wasn't until about, I think it was a week ago. I think last weekend, the welcome screen came back and said, "Oh, you can get this back on the Google Play Apple Store. It's
Oh my
back."
gosh. Okay.
Yeah, I know. I probably know too much about this stuff.
No, it's like it's part of your business, it's part of what you do. I think it's important to keep up on it, but it's hard to when it changes so
Yeah,
much.
it's like, who do I go and ask or talk to about this? I don't know.
Do you have any younger siblings or cousins?
No, not really. I'm the youngest. Yeah, I'm the
I,
young.
I if there's something trendy or something, I have like cousins that are like 20, 21, and I'm just like, can you explain this to me? And then I still don't understand.
That's funny. It was like the intern
Yeah,
that I had
yeah.
helping last summer. I would ask her. She'd let me in on some stuff.
Perfect. Yep.
Yeah, they even did a TikTok thing on me, like one of those challenges. Yeah, it was during the kids camp, and
Cool.
I didn't know what they were talking about. And I'm game, I'll play. And
Yeah.
so it was like something about, you say something, and you're standing in a line. So all of us are standing in a line. And the first one would say something. There was a trendy thing they say, and then everyone would be like, "Yay!" and start clapping. The second one would do it. I repeat. Everyone, laugh, clap. Awesome. There was something, catchy about it. I'm at the end. So I do exactly like what they say they told me to do. And they all just stood there and looked at me like, "No, that's not it." And I'm like,
Oh
"What?
no.
What?" And that was it. That was the catch for me to
Oh, like
stand
that
there
was
and look like,
the whole
yes.
point of the video.
Yeah. Yeah. The whole point was that everybody else is on the
Oh.
same page. But when it comes to
But
me,
you
though, like,
didn't know, so you're standing there
right.
like, what do you mean? I just did
I
what
did what you guys told me.
well,
They're
you
like,
probably played into it even more, and that's what made it even better.
I know. I was like,
They're
"What?"
like, this sucker over here. Like, we got her.
So the next day, we're waiting for them to show up, and it's me and the intern and the doc. And I said, "So tell me," I said, "this TikTok challenge thing." And she says, "Oh yeah." She says, "Yeah, we did it to my mom." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
I would have fell for it too. So
Yeah. And I'd never even seen it. She goes, "Oh yeah, it's a thing going around. They did it to my mom, and she did the same thing, standing there going, 'What the heck? What is this?'"
just make people feel left out.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is pretty funny to be like, I guess, around that all the time, like kids that are doing, all these things and just lingo and sayings
Oh
and
yeah.
what?
I teach dancers yoga once a week, and they're like 14 to 17.
Mm.
So every week there's something, a word, something on social media, and I'm like, all right, you guys have to break this down for me. I'm not with it anymore. Like, it's all the same things. Like, it's all the stuff that I dealt with and I'm sure everybody else dealt with in high school and stuff,
Yeah.
but it's just the way it's presented changes. And granted, like I had social media when, but it wasn't to this extent when I was their age. So
Right.
I feel for them in a lot of ways and, try to help them in the ways that I can. But some of it, I don't, to just grow up and have that, basically been around it for your entire life is, I don't
Yeah.
know what that's like.
I know. That's a whole nother world, you know. I mean, Facebook alone has been around for a while. I don't know, I think off the top of my head, 15 plus years,
Yeah, something like that.
which is crazy to think about even. But
It is. Yeah, it is, and to me, it's so crazy that we carry around like phones in our pockets, and it's just so normal. Like it's normal to be that connected, and um, but I don't know that it also invites the connection of like what kind of connection, Like
mhm.
I'm trying to teach them like there's different levels of it, and um, that's interesting too but it's cool to see them open up in surprising ways.
Yeah.
They're happy to put away their phone.
Well, that's good.
It's cool to see too.
Yeah. Maybe they have a little bit more form of discipline just because of school and studies and
Yeah.
things like that that they actually have to
And the
have.
dance world. The dance world, the whole other, yeah, it's a whole thing. So, and to come in to teach yoga to dancers has been interesting too. It's a lot about, at least for me and my approach, is to slow down and
Mhm.
to be present and like notice that inward conversation and feelings and stuff. And
Yeah.
of course, it's about doing poses and things like that, but I'm finding what I'm teaching them is more inward skills than like
Then movement.
traditional yoga. So,
Where I was going to ask you about, do you take them through like a typical routine, or you're kind of answering it in a way where you're saying this more inward focus?
yeah. So I've structured it where we start off with a journal prompt. And then and then we'll just like share it if we want to, if they want to go around and have a chat. And then, yeah, we'll do some movement. Like we'll do, like a yoga sequence, but it's more like a recovery session. We're not getting like power yoga in or anything like that. They had just, danced all day. And so I'm coming in to kind of stretch their muscles and I find it to be like a really reflective period instead of just like go go go, which I feel like in their
Yeah.
environment that they always have. And you know I have them face away from the mirror because when you're dancing, you're dancing in the mirror and every movement is kind of perfected, and I really try to get away with that in yoga with them. And of course we want to keep their body safe, so I don't want them to be in a pose where it's going to harm them, but I try not to like nitpick or it has to look a certain way. Because I feel like they get that a lot.
Yeah, that
Not only social media, but also in the dancing world.
sure. Yeah. I took dancing too growing up
Oh, I didn't know
along
that.
with skating. They were both very dominant and growing up in my life. And yeah, I'm thinking about that scenario, what you're saying, because yoga can feel very performance like. I guess in my world, when I'm practicing at home, I can feel very performancey like, but that's because I have this dancer background, and not that I ever say that like in studio or in front of people, because you don't. It's not a performance, and it's not to judge yourself against other people even, and how they look in a pose. And when I'm, maybe trying to do something and you just kind of glance over, you're like, oh, wow, look at how they get into the pose, like, or they're looking a lot more perfect than I am. And, you try to stray away from that. But, it's common instinct to kind of look around. But that's
Yeah.
interesting, facts, or, what you're bringing up about, teaching in a much different crowd, younger crowd at that. It's very unique. It's cool.
It is, and I think too, like, to go on to the compare and even to compare it to social media, like, we spend a lot of our time comparing, and, like, no body looks the same, and I come from, like, a dancer perfectionist background, and how I found yoga was more definitely under, like, the compassionate, and for me, it wasn't like a workout or, like, a performative thing, and of course, I struggle still with those elements, as I think, we all do in various aspects of our life. But for me, I try to use it as a practice to give my body what it needs and listen to it.
Yeah.
And like, because with dancing, you're pushing it beyond its limits, which is good. It's good to push yourself and go past your comfort zones. It's, obviously not good if you get hurt, but it's, there's aspects of that that's good. But I also feel like there's time to, you know, be in tune with your body still and listen, and you can listen to it in a way of knowing your hard boundaries and like, oh, that doesn't feel so good, I'm not going to go there today. I don't know, that balance of listening to your body and pushing in, and it's a whole language I'm finding. Like I didn't have a good relationship with my body in the sense of like I didn't ever listen to it or pay attention to it. It was just like a thing I used. But with yoga's really helped me like come in tune and feel the sensations in my body
Yeah.
better.
That's interesting too, because I feel like that's probably an ageless thing, right? When you have younger ones who are you're teaching that are dancers, they may have an injury. Has you ever had anybody say, "No, I'm not feeling not
Oh
f-
yeah, every week there's
okay,
something going on with a hip or
a leg."
someone's sick or leg or my shoulder hurts or there I get it. Yeah. Something's happening every week. Yeah, for sure.
And then you probably try to message like this, you know, take this time right now to, you're moving your body, but you're moving it, think of it in a different way. You're not trying to force it. And
Like I don't want them to like charge through. I feel like there's a lot of areas in our life where we're, charging ahead, whether it's work or school or dance or business or whatever it is, and it's like when do we get a chance to just be like gentle with ourselves? Not very often.
yeah, that's a good point, because even if you're in the older crowd, and it's a different lifestyle, right? But it's still like, well, I'm going to force myself to do this, to try
Yeah,
this
and then how
pose.
often are
And
you gonna really do it if it feels like this is something you have to do and it has to look a certain way?
it's pretty interesting. It's definitely that, practice term, like it's practice
Mhm. Oh
teacher
yeah.
and student, I'm learning from you, you're learning from me, kind of thing.
And
Yeah, which, I'm sure for you too, it fuels your vibe, to keep doing this, to keep, going out there, even though it can be challenging.
yeah, well, you mentioned like the teacher student, like having gone through like all the trainings I did last year and then kind of feeling burnt out teaching. I feel like this winter I kind of dialed back a little bit and not that I completely stopped my practice, but I definitely like fell off. And something I really wanted to do this winter was take classes at a studio again. And I started doing that and it kind of just reinvigorates you. It's like that endless cycle of, yes, you can learn teaching too. Like I learn a lot from them, but
Hmm.
it's nice to be a student too and just kind of have someone else hold the space.
Yeah.
And both are
Yeah.
important to be a space holder and for someone to hold the space for you. Like I feel like we all need that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and sometimes that gets a little harder and harder, the more you go, the more you keep going and trying to like, keep learning, or keeping that window open for learning. Sometimes it gets hard. It's when you're always the leader, always the one teaching. So
Yeah, we all need our places where we can just kind of slump and be held.
it's a good point for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was one other thing I was gonna. Was there anything else that you wanted to share for I guess, about like yoga and just, moving forward in the next few months or so?
I'm excited. I feel like my relationship with yoga is constantly changing and shifting. And like I said, I think I put a lot of pressure on myself last year. So I'm excited just to like relax into it and become more creative and playful with it and see kind of what comes of it. I'm excited for what, you come up with and what maybe we can collaborate on. And
Yeah.
um, just having more of a flow with it. I think in the yoga world it's hard because there's a tendency to kind of become all up in your head and it's all love and light. When there's, to get things done, there is that gritty, grounded earthiness to it, and so it's like that balance. But I think I was shifted to one side, and I think I'm coming back in the middle. So I'm excited just to see how my personal practice transforms and then like see what opportunities come up for this year and just to be more creative again. I
Mm-hmm.
think I don't know, there's a lot of different offerings, whether it's yoga or Reiki and energy healing and things like that. I'm excited to explore that more in more depth and get to know more people. I feel like
Sure. Yeah.
yeah, that's it's
Nice.
so it yeah, so that's fun.
Cool. Yeah, I like that. That sounds good. Maybe any positive message that you would want to share with anyone out there, or
Ooh, okay, that's a good one. I like the theme that we've kind of been playing on. Like find the joy. Like find the reason why you're doing the thing. Whatever it is. It doesn't have to be yoga or sup or whatever it is, but like find the joy and that kind of leads you to the why and that drives you. Yoga for me gives me a lot of joy. Being in nature gives me a lot of joy, and so yoga and sup, that's like an easy one for me. And yeah, like I'm inviting more joy for 2025.
no,
And
that's
I
great.
hope that for you and all your listeners.
Oh, well, no, thank you. No, that's great. I I was pondering this question and it's kind of silly in a way, but I was thinking it's like if you were to if you met somebody that was just moved to Michigan and they're like, "Wow, you deal with this for how many months?" Like we were talking about winter and just like, struggles behind it and things like that. And
Mhm.
I think you answered that without me really even asking that question because it's like the winter time in the pool. It's utilizing a space. No, it's not always easy. I mean, you're carrying paddle boards in the snow like into the door of the pool with the pool open and wind blowing right at you, and it's like it just makes
1 degree outside.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, and then here the boards have lost a little air because of the temperatures and okay, now fill these up but the joy behind it is the fact that for just that sliver of time, it's I can provide for people who want to learn, who are looking forward to summer. They feel water is a therapy type for them. So I every time I still walk away like, nope, this is, I think like
Worth it.
is it
Mhm.
worth it or not? It's like, nope, it is for me,
Mhm.
and like I said, it might be just that one sliver of time. It's not like summer where it's like, back to back every day, just meeting new people constantly, you know.
Well, even in the summer, I'm like, girl, you do a lot slinging those boards in and out of your van, and
I miss
it's
it.
it's a lot of work. Like
It
people
is.
maybe necessarily don't see that, and
Oh,
so
I don't think they do.
they see the end result of it all out on the water, but these are huge boards. I mean, you have nice durable boards and they're huge and they're heavy. Not in like super heavy like one person can carry it, but it's a big board.
Yeah, depends
And
on how
not only
far.
that, you got life jackets, you got the ankle straps, you got the paddle.
Paddles. Yeah, I know.
Like it's a process. I don't think I never appreciated that until I was behind the scenes this past summer and I was like, You do this, you like, this is no wonder you got some arms and like, you're
I know.
not only are you paddling on the water and in shape, but I feel like slinging the boards is
Is a
definitely
whole
oh,
nother thing. Yes. I know. I know. I shouldn't say that no one knows. They some do know, but a lot of people don't until they see it. And then they're like, wow, can I help pick up something?
yeah, I'm like no longer can I just show up for a yoga class or show up to paddleboard. I feel like I need like we all need to pitch in.
Put a little footwork in. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I think like 20,000 steps a day is probably my like max. Like, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, like you said, I like you, in the summer you are just like on the go. Like
Yeah.
you got a whole system in place and it works out. But like you said, like, some people might get bogged down and if you don't remember and find that joy, it's easy to like write it off. But then you don't have those like sliver of moments and
Yeah.
it's worth it. Anything's gonna be work. You got to decide which work you want to do.
Well, I appreciate you coming on and sharing. And of course, like all of the collaboration, I definitely look forward to a season of being able to get you out too and doing some stuff. So, yeah,
I'm pumped. I can't wait. I'm like, first day of spring. Let's go.
I know. Is it 30 days or 29 days? Something like that.
Yeah, that's true. It's like a month away. Yeah. My wheels are turning, as you can maybe tell. I'm like getting
Yes.
all those creative juices. So I
She's getting
I love these
happy.
conversations and thank you for having me on.
Yeah, thank you. And thanks for, like again, last summer, just diving in and just, I think the community embraced you and, in return, the vibe was mutual and, I love that. So
Yeah,
awesome.
you have a good community around you. So it was fun to jump in and become a part of that. I think that's one of the best parts. We'll leave it at that. The
Yes.
community, can't beat it.
Awesome. Well, cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the episode of Wave On. If you loved what you heard, check out my site for some great summer vibes, including our inflatable kayak and a revamped lip balm and lotion combo sets, perfect for your next adventure. Also, don't miss the early bird discount for our Big Bay retreat in July. It's going to be such an unforgettable experience. You can see that on the schedule page. Also, I invite you to follow along on social media or check out the site and sign up for the newsletter with all the promos, paddle dates, and classes. lunamoonsupyoga.com.